Oh my goodness, what is up, people? What is up? What is up? What is up? Back in town. Was over the pond for a minute. I don't know why my video looks a little herky-jerky. I hope it's working good. Maybe you guys can tell me if it's looking okay and sounding okay. I'll just double check with you before we get fully started here and I get invested. And start talking about things. So let me know that the stream looks okay and sounds okay. Who we got here in the house? Let's see. My knees hurt. Mark T, Peter Evans, Todd, Roy, Ebars, Ian. What's up, all you guys? Good to see all you guys. Oh man, heat wave today says my knees hurt. We might hit 90. I want to show you something really quick too. Before we go on with other things. Let me see if I have any sounds here. It's really quiet. I got volume. Can you hear that? Everybody hear that tone? Great shirt. It says Jock. I'll just wait until you tell me that you can hear that sound. But Earl says, yep. It sounds okay. Sounds cool. Loud and clear. All right. This is a pedal. I'm going to start off with this, and then we'll move on to other things. This is a pedal I just wanted to show you real quick because I had some extra time. I got in here early because I'm jet lagged. So I had some time this morning. I started going through things that I got to do. And this is a pedal that's really nice. I've been meaning to make a video for this for quite a while. There were some issues with another one I had. He sent me another one. He did a little bit of work on it and stuff because we found a little bit of R&D together. Found some issues. This one is all good, I think. And this is kind of an amazing little box. So I just kind of wanted to show you what it is. The 1987 from Volta. So looks like your everyday average pedal. But this is actually a programmable distortion pedal. It's all analog and everything, but the like the circuitry, but it's got some level of digital control. You can get it with MIDI, and you can recall up to 12 presets. So it's like an overdrive distortion pedal, very Marshall in a box, 1987. You know, kind of small box Marshall idea. But that you can store 12 presets on. So imagine having it on your board or in a rack drawer or something like that. And you can have up to 12 sounds. It sounds really good. This is the, you know, if I turn it off, you can hear there's no distortion, no tone. Pretty great Marshall in a box. Here's the higher gain setting I've got dialed up. Pretty great, right? I mean, it sounds cool. I've got it set super. Somebody says 80s hair. Oh, maybe they mean my hair is 80s or the tone's 80s hair. But anyway, I've got it set in the tightest setting for kind of, you know, keeping the articulation and the tone really tight, kind of the most rock setting with lots of mids and stuff like that. You can fatten it up and you can make it less gainy than that and all that stuff. But anyway, really nice little programmable Marshall in a box, essentially preamp pedal. I mean, it sounds really legit. I found myself sitting here playing it this morning for a while. Lost a lot of volume, somebody says. I don't know. I mean, hopefully it sounds good. I don't know. Does your playing skills come with the pedal? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. I haven't played guitar in a week. This is like the earliest, or this is early days for me getting my hands back together. Anyway, oh, I need to disable echo cancellation, says Ben. Thanks, Ben. There you are, helping me out. Okay, let me do that. Settings, audio, disable echo cancellation. There we go. Don't need that. Okay, this will sound better. Better? Probably sounds a lot better. That's the high gain sound. Here is the low gain. In honor of these guys, because I saw them a few days ago. Sounds killer, right? Some buzz. Well, the buzz is gain in my noisy ass room. Ben to the rescue. Yes, thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. Yeah, that probably sounds better, right? Anyway, great pedal. I mean, imagine like overdrive pedal with 12 or distortion with 12 presets, right? You know, that you can recall via MIDI, or you can just do the 2 on the pedal. You don't need to use the programmability, but you can have up to 12 gain levels or whatever in there for your different stylings. And tone. I mean, it's all analog control and analog tone, but or is it digital? Digital control, but with analog, knobs and pots. So you tweak your sound, get a sound, push store, and you can do up to 12 of those. I don't know exactly how it works as far as the MIDI programmability. You probably tweak a sound, store it, and then maybe send it a MIDI program change or something like that, and then it remembers. I'm not 100% sure how that works. I haven't gotten that deep into it yet, but pretty nice. The other thing it will do is some expression pedal capability for the drive. So that you can actually sweep the gain pot. That's kind of interesting. More than I might use, but cool. So anyway, little piece of gear that's something to check out. The tone is all there, that's for sure. So let's move on to this. How was AC/DC? Did you see them at Wembley? I saw them at Wembley. Oh my God! I mean, it was. I don't know how many people were there, but it looked like for sure it was 70,000. I want to say it was 80,000. It could have been 90,000. I don't know. It was unbelievable. So many people just ready to rock and roll. I mean, it was loud. My ears rang for like 2-3 days. And it was loud in the best way. My buddy Matt is playing drums, and he took such good care of us. And so we had these killer box seats with a private, bar area where we could go back and get drinks really easily and stuff like that, and then walk out. And I just remember going back to get a beverage and then walking out through, kind of like the tunnel on the way out into the venue, because we were seated in the sides. I was in one of the side areas, and so that tunnel you'd walk through to come out into the venue, out into the arena, right, or the stadium rather. And Angus started, maybe it was, need a tone. Might have been that, I think it might have been Shoot the Thrill or something. And he started that, and it went through the tunnel, like right as and it was just like the most all-encompassing, amazing sounding rock guitar sound. I just was like, aha! I was like screaming. I was so excited. It just sounded so good. So good, Guitar just, great. The band, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's like Brian was killer. You could tell, I mean, he has, it's a hard gig. I mean, dude's in his 70s, and he's having so much fun up there. He was so good, especially the first, 4 or 5 songs. We were just looking at one another going, damn, he sounds good. Like, really great. And then his spirit is just so there. And Angus, man, running all over the place and just playing great. And, it's we all love Phil and Cliff, it's like the classic AC/DC lineup. I mean, it's just those guys, at least in 78, 7 or 8, whenever Cliff joined. But, it's just like he wanted to step back. I'm speaking of Cliff, the bass player, right? He wanted to step back. He's getting older and stuff, I guess, and just, was like, I don't think I want to tour. So Chris Cheney out there playing bass, who's also a friend of mine, great guy, amazing bass player. And Chris and Matt being there as the backbone for the songs, pummeling that, just driving like a freight train, you know, so that Angus and Brian and Stevie, you know, who's sounded fantastic as well, so that they can do their thing on top, and just, you know, like just that support of the bass and drums and everything. It was just amazing, man. It was so good. Honestly, so good. They're probably about to go on stage right now, I think. It's about noon here, so that means it's 8 there. Probably going on right about now. I think that's what time they started the other night, I believe. It was something like that, around 8. So I think they stopped by about 10:30. Oh, man. So good, so good, so good, so good. I loved it. So awesome. People are coming out in numbers like that to see them. Yeah, I mean, if you're Angus right now, you got to just be like, I'm really glad I decided to do this, you know, and do the tour and carry on and have Brian there and make the decision as far as drums and bass and stuff like that goes that they did, because they are just winning. I mean, the people are so stoked and so excited to be there. The crowd looks like a big, just, you know, because we were sitting on the sides, you look down on the floor and it's just this undulating monster of rock. It's just like everybody's so into it. I just had the best time. Do I sound like I had fun? It was so worth going, you know. I went over and I hung out in France for a couple days, which was awesome. It was great. It's always good to go back there. I had a really good time. Went to some guitar shops and stuff. I think I posted a picture last week of some really cool guitars. A trio of 66 Jaguars. Some nice stores there in Pigalle still. So that was really fun. And then headed back up to London on the Eurostar. And, you know, hung there for a day. That was great. Went to the AC/DC pop-up bar in Camden, where they had like a little pop-up bar where you could go and get, you know, drinks. And, you know, they had a fun AC/DC photo booth. I took some pictures in and stuff. And they had Marshalls there and Gretches and SGs and stuff. And it was just like videos of AC/DC playing, just getting in the mood, you know. It was really fun. Do I sound like a fan? I am. I love it so much. Look at this super chat. Thank you, sir, from Roger. Appreciate that. Happy Canada Day last week. I have a chance to buy 2 original Celestion G12M blackbacks from 78. Should I be looking at either Mojo Tone or Scumbag equivalents instead? No, I mean, dude, if the speakers are in great shape, just get them, especially if they're for any kind of good price at all. I'd say if they were under $300 each, you know, or $300 each, up to that, I would say just buy those and pop them in a nice 212 that you treat carefully, you know, attenuate if you're going to play a 50 watt or 100 watt amp through it with those 2 speakers. Just go down 1 click or something so you don't kill them, and record with them and just enjoy them. I've got 8 of them. You know, I have 2 412s loaded with them, and they're my main recording speaker. You know, they're just the best. They just sound cool. So, anyways, yeah. Yeah, go for it. I would say, you know, if they're a good price, you won't regret it. It's a great investment in your tone. You know, for, like I say, if you can get them for $500-600 or something like that, it's like the cost of a few pedals or something, and it's something that you'll use all the time for all your sounds. You know, and it's a good investment in tone. That's right, I said it. Lauren says they said nice things about you on the Sweetwater video on Sir. Cool. I haven't seen that. I'll have to go. Check it out. Now, I hung out with John Sir last night. That was fun, and his lovely wife, and we were actually at the Beck concert at the Hollywood Bowl. He was doing a lot of material from Morning Phase and the Sea Change album that he did with, you know, Justin Metal Johansson and Jason Faulkner on guitar, and then the whole LA Philharmonic. That was fantastic. So, not to be confused with Jeff Beck, of course. Beck, the artist known as Beck. Sometimes you bring that up and people are like, I thought Jeff Beck had passed away. Like, he has. I'm talking about Beck, the guy that won the Grammy for the, 2013 for Album of the Year for Morning Phase. Completely different kind of show. Although he did do a guitar solo with some tapping and fuzz and the whole 9 yards. Beck is wonderful. I loved it. So John's a big Beck fan as well. So hung with him last night. But I'll check out that video, Lauren. Appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah. What else are we talking about here? Are you going to use a looper control on the new small pedal board that you're building? Yes. So that's a nice I'll want to talk about the pedalboard, and I have a picture of it uploaded actually so that I can show it to you, because it's basically done, although I made a last minute change, so that just needs to get tweaked. Maybe tomorrow it'll be done, and then I can actually start using the board and programming it and stuff. But I'm going to show you that in a minute here. Yeah. Let's keep talking about AC/DC and stuff for a minute though, because it's too fun. I don't want to stop yet. It was so great. No idea how Angus continues to do it. I totally agree. I mean, it's amazing when I watch him. I'm just like, he's like a rock god up there, just running around for 2 hours at least, and maybe more, and doing the thing that he always did, and just like, it's so wonderful. I mean, it's like, you think you maybe can't see something like that still to these days on that level, and then he's up there doing it, and you're just like, thank God, like, there it is, you know. Like, I'm so thankful, you know, that he's doing it, because it's just, that's the stuff that we just, you know, I feel like I'm 13 years old again watching it. It's amazing. So I don't know how he does it, but it's wonderful, you know. Tom says, for those about to rock, was one of the loudest concerts he's attended. That's so cool you saw that. By that point, they were definitely cranking loud. 82, 83. I mean, I think they were loud in the 70s, but it was like those shows in the 80s, I think the early 80s were bonkers. That show was professionally filmed, the Wembley show. Yeah, I believe it was. I mean, there was a lot of cameras going anyway, and I was like, is this show being filmed for release, or is it just, yeah, it'll be an amazing concert, I'm sure, you know, concert movie if it was, but I wasn't sure if it was just for the screens or if it was like actually being filmed, you know, for a concert. So I hope so, because that'd be so cool to have a show that I was still there. So is the stadium still there? Yes. Well, it's a new stadium. So I didn't actually realize that until last week, but yeah, they knocked down Wembley Stadium at some point, I think in the 90s, and then they rebuilt it. So you live there. You should be over there right now. Go get on the tube and get over to the show. You've still got time. So good. Oh my God. You know, trust me, it'll be life-changing. Go. Get off this. This is the only time I'll tell you to not watch my show and go somewhere. Report back next week. So good, so good. You guys are talking about some bands here in the chat that sound sort of like AC/DC or inspired by AC/DC, like Airborne, for sure. The Lazies have a real AC/DC vibe. I haven't heard of them. I got to check them out. Interesting. Desert Island with one guitar and what amp? Well, honestly, it'd be like my signature, you know, some version of my signature guitar, right, from Sir, and probably a PT100, because I can do anything with a PT100, you know. Those would be the two. I could do pretty much anything I need to do, so that's the truth. Yeah. These streams are awesome. Really makes my Sundays. Me too. I love it. And I couldn't do it last week because I was in France and was just, you know, that was my one day in Paris to really go out and have, you know, have a great time and stuff like that. Kind of had 2 days, but I was like, I'm just going to take this time to enjoy the day in France, and I ended up having an amazing time. So I walked, like, if I showed you my health app on my phone, you know, you can see how many steps you walk, and every day I was going like 20,000 steps. So walking at least, I think that's like 8 miles or something. What is it? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? I don't know. How many miles? How many miles is 10,000 steps? 5 miles. So yeah, it's about 10 miles I was walking a day. It was great. I love it. One of my favorite things to do is get in a great city and walk all day. Just go places and do things and drink multiple coffees and eat some gelato and have a couple beverages and enjoy. Okay. He is living the clean life now that extends a lot of older players' careers, not partying like they used to. I imagine. I mean, you couldn't be. I think he's 60. Is he 69 years old? You know, I think. Something like that. So, must be living clean. For those about to rock concert, those damn cannons choked me out. Whatever smoke they used literally took my breath away. Wow. That can't be good. It was a different time. We didn't worry so much about such things. What? Hearing? What? I can't breathe. What was in those cannons? I don't know, but it was cool. Any update on the PT50? Not yet, but it's coming. John's working on it now. I mean, he's working in a computer program at the moment, laying everything out and stuff like that. So more on that soon. What do I think of dumping tube amps and just going with profile and modelers? I mean, it just depends on what you're doing. I would never fully do that, but next week I'm doing gigs with my Quad Cortex. Just depends on if I'm flying and what I have to bring and what the situation is and what the band is and the music. But I'm a diehard tube amp guy too, you know, if I have my wits about me, my choice. Rock. Yeah, there's a lot of buzz, but that's because there's a lot of gain. Once again, the tones are coming today, courtesy of the Volta 1987. Programmable Marshall in a box. Everyone always credits Angus for his talents, but his brother Malcolm wrote all those cool rhythms and riffs. Well, yeah, I think Malcolm gets his due from just about anybody that's a true AC/DC fan. I love Malcolm. I don't know that, I mean, I think Angus and Malcolm wrote a lot, you know. I think we can credit Angus with writing quite a bit, right? I mean, no? I mean, I'd have to go back and look at songwriting credits exactly, but I always thought they kind of were somewhat co-equally involved in that, you know? That it was the two brothers working together. Malcolm's amazing, you know? And Stevie's sounding great. Like, he's more than ever, I think. He was always sounded, you know, really good, I think. But, like, his tone right now is killer. It's better than it was on Desert Trip. I think he's using a different amp. Because I remember seeing the videos from Desert Trip, and I thought it was cool, but very clean. Like, too clean, maybe. Just my opinion, you know. And then whatever he's doing right now is, like, perfect. Like, it just sounds so, so good. So, yeah. Okay. Moving through the chat. I'm about to show you my pedalboard in a minute here. Because I want to talk about that for a minute. Do you use a power conditioner or voltage regulator similar in your live rigs or home setup? Generally speaking, when I go to England, I like to take a... although it kind of was screwing up on me last year a little bit, just the ground on it. But I'll take my Variac over. It's not a power conditioner, but it does allow me to change the voltage. So my rig is generally, if I'm in the UK or Europe, it's a step transformer to, you know, go from 240 to 120. I'll come out of that because my rig work, my amps and stuff, right, work on 120. I'll come out of that into a Variac. Big old Variac that I've had since the Chris Cornell days. And then I'll go out of the Variac into my rack, which has a power conditioner in it that powers everything. The amps, the pedal board, all that stuff, my wireless. And I will just look on that power conditioner, there's a meter on it, and I'll run that at about 118 or 117. Because sometimes you can get overseas, you know, and depending on where you are, and dodgy venue power and whatever, you can see that power and it'll be like 123 or, you know, it'll look a little high compared to what it's supposed to be. So I'll just dial it back using the Variac to 117 or something like that. And that's kind of what I do. So I'm kind of using a Variac in conjunction with a power conditioner. Now, towards the end of the last tour, I was having an issue with the ground. It was like because coming out of the Variac, I got to plug my whole rack into the Variac, right? And the pins on the plug on the Variac were not making a good connection with the ground. I could wiggle that cable, and sometimes it would start buzzing. And I was like, "This is bad. I don't like this. I think this is causing more trouble than it's solving problems." So, anyways, you may have disparaged the sound of the Power Age album. It's the best AC/DC record. I'm giving. I think disparage is a strong word. You know. I think the guitar tones on it, if going back, if I'm not mistaken, I should go back and listen again, but I found them just to be a little more raspy. That's all, you know, as compared to like High Voltage. And, you know, then we get into, you know, if we're talking about the Highway to Hell or, you know, Back in Black. I mean, Malcolm makes the case like that things got cleaner once Mutt Lange got involved, but not too clean. And I think that was a great way to put it. You know, those were some unbelievable recorded guitar sounds. Now, I love the earlier. I like the raspy and the slightly more, you know, it sounds a little more indie and just the you know, George Young produced stuff. You know, is really cool in its own way. It's just a different thing. But anyways, I don't disparage anything AC/DC's done, but it doesn't mean I can't like one more than the other. You know, so. Yeah. Okay, can you talk about Sir's single coil pickups? In the Sweetwater video, they mentioned something about a dummy coil. I don't know exactly the way it works. That's the SSC system. And yeah, there's a dummy coil of some sort that is incorporated with the pickups that is if in most cases, a passive system. You don't need a battery for it in most cases, I should say, because there's a couple where you do. But it's a great noise canceling. I have it in this guitar. So this guitar, I mean, even with quite high gain right now. And this is my noisy room. This is the humbucker. Here's the singles. If I was to go this way, it'd be totally silent. I don't have the option of defeating it in this guitar, but if I did, you would hear that noise increase. Like it'd be a lot in this room with that much gain, you know? So you can hear they're about the same amount of buzz as the humbucker, you know? And that's with a shit ton of gain. And I can't stress enough that we have a lot of you know, transformers and stuff outside this building and stuff that create a lot of pickup noise. So I'm constantly fighting that in here. So that's almost a worst case scenario. And you can hear the singles are about the same as a humbucker at a very high gain with a little bit of buzz. So I'm not sure that's the best demo. You know, these singles under most conditions silent. You know, so. Is the PT50 still on track for NAMM? Hopefully, you know. I can never know. I can't make a promise because, I mean, that's the plan. But then you go, okay, we're on track, and then the chassis, you know, supplier is like, I'm a month behind, and that sets the whole thing back, you know, or you know, panels or something, whatever, you know, and it's just like, so you've got all these unforeseen things along the way. But that's what we were shooting for, you know, this whole time. Man, it is hot in here. I think I'm going to turn on my fan. Just one sec. It's scorching on the West Coast, and that includes in this room. Got a bad light back here. One of my colored lights in my room is blinking away back there. Pieces of crap. Order them off Amazon. That's what you get. Okay, what else we got here? Javier, thank you for the super chat. That concert sounded rad. I have a Jackson Kelly that I want to rock but still be versatile. I'm going Thornbuckers. Go Thornbucker 2 or Plus. The 2 is a little, like maybe rounder on the top end, a little more Alnico 2, and ever so slightly hotter. I mean, it's really close. 53 millimeter for Floyd, yeah. 53. Well, on a Jackson, that's a great question. I don't know the spacing of, is a Jackson Kelly you know, I'm not really sure about that. That's something you should check. Measure the spacing of what's in it now, you know, pickup wise and stuff. Anybody out there know that? You know, is that like a Gibson spacing or that's a good question for a Floyd. I don't know. I kind of want to say it's 53, but I don't want to steer you the wrong way, you know. I would assume it would be for a Floyd Rose. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Mike says Paul Stanley loves the 94 59 Richie Les Paul the first year they made it. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, they made some beautiful ones in the early days of the, you know, kind of custom shop early days and stuff. I remember, you know, around 90, seeing beautiful ones, 96, 98, you know, around those years. And they were doing things still back then with Brazilian rosewood sometimes and stuff. Really cool. Yeah. Did you see the Shaka Khan Tiny Desk concert from a few weeks ago? 25 musicians. No, I didn't. Really? There was that many? That's amazing. My favorite is the Otoboke Beaver Tiny Desk concert. That's my favorite Tiny Desk concert. Willow Smith was amazing on there recently too. God, man, her new music is insane. So good. I played with Shaka Khan, my first really big time gig. That was, I tell people that sometimes. They're like, "You played with Shaka?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." It was 1993, I think. And I did a television show, the Arsenio Hall Show. Anybody remember the Arsenio Hall Show? With Peter Cetera and Shaka Khan. It's a duet called... I don't remember. We could Google it. Peter Cetera and Shaka Khan had a single duet, and I played guitar on that. Not on the record, but on the television show, on the Arsenio Hall Show. I was 22 or 21 years old, I think. My first really, really big thing that I ever did. Who makes that 1987 pedal? It's a company called Volta. You can see it down there in the bottom, right? Volta. And it's from Italy. So check it out. Volta 1987 Pro is this one. They make a regular one, too, that doesn't have the programmable stuff, I think. Yeah. Van Halen, AC/DC, Pantera, so many examples of brothers as a formidable team. The Kinks, what else we got? Oasis, 100%. We love you. I love you too. Great to be here. Great to be here. Great to be here. Have you seen the Joe Satriani Tone X Vault? I have not yet, actually, but I think that's really cool. He did it. Did a bunch of his amps and stuff. I should check it out soon. That might move me into just a quick. Let's talk about my pedal board here, if you don't mind. I'm going to add this to the stage because I want to show you this new little pedal board I had made. Because is that interesting? I think it's interesting and relevant. There it is. There's my foot down there. So don't mind the dig delay being slightly crooked. It's not actually attached down right now because that was a last minute. I think I want to make a switch out thing, and I put that on there, and it's not Velcroed down, but I think I'm going to go with that one. So this is a tempo board, 24 inches wide, with a smaller version of the Musicom Lab switcher, the Effects 10D, as the kind of the brain of the whole system. And you can see, so it's a tempo board that, 24 inches wide. It's very, very light. The board itself, it's 3 pounds with no pedals on it. So it's just like air. Fantastic for keeping the weight down. It's not the most sturdy board in the world, I would say. They flex a little in the middle if you were to really stand on it. But that's just part of the, what you get for, the lightweight and stuff, which was my primary concern with this if I want to fly it around. And I think I'm going to end up using this board in the studio a lot because a lot of times my bigger board, which is 30 inches wide, that board, will be out on the road and it'll be, getting shipped around. And then I'm always here and like having to jerry rig things together. I need a compressor and a tuner or something. And I just wanted one more board so that I could basically have my sounds. But without some of the bells and whistles in my bigger board. So, for example, this in comparison to my bigger board, my bigger one has I should just take a picture of it really quick here so you can see the comparison. The bigger board's got a wah and an expression pedal. Here it is down on the floor right now. So I'll just snap a quick picture of it so I can then hold it up. Rotate it so it's easier to see. Okay, here we go. So there's the big one. So the big one has, you can see the Silver Boss pedal in the middle that says AC, don't pull on it. That's my expression pedal, and then it's got a H90 and the EVH delay. And then it's got a wah on it too. So the switcher is 6 buttons wide on that one, whereas it's 4 on this smaller board. There's a wah and there's an expression pedal. That pretty much makes up the extra, 6 inches, on the board. So this one being quite a bit more compact and without a shelf and all that. So what's on it? If we go from right to left, you've got the first thing in line, the Polytune, and that's just what I'm going to use for a mute and my tuner. right up front. I've got the buffer. Buffer. I'll probably leave off on that. The next pedal in line is the, because some of these are hard to see, I know. It's I believe it's called a superconductor from Crazy Tube Circuits, and that's a multi-function boost that'll do EP style boost, or it'll do a Rangemaster style boost, it'll do clean boost, like just FET style. So I can just, and that's not in a loop. That's just at the front. So if I'm like, I just want more, I can just kick that pedal on. Now, after that, you'll see the pedals that are in loops. So the first one is a Keeley compressor, a little mini compressor, 2 knobs. It's got a compression knob and a level knob. That's it, as easy as can be. The next pedal is my old Standby Fuzz Crazy Tube Circuits Starlight Fuzz, which I just love. So that's the gold pedal, kind of with the white knobs right in the middle. Next to that is a J-Rocket Archer clon, basically, right? So those are the first 3 loops: compressor, fuzz, Archer. And then I've got the up above, you can see the Zelza, underappreciated pedal from Strymon. That's a phaser, as well as you can do flanging and chorusing stuff with it. So it's a multi-modulation pedal, one of the newer ones, so it's totally programmable. I think you can store up to 300 presets in it. So that's my, Thorn 6-stage phasing, vibey sounds, as well as if I want some flanging and stuff like that, it'll handle all that. That's in loop 4, and then in loop 5, you can see the Anodyne chorus up there from Providence. That's the blue pedal. Just one of my favorite mono analog choruses. It sounds so good, that pedal, and I'm glad I finally put it on the board because this is really, really nice for an analog chorus. Then you can see, let's go all the way over to the left of the board. That is an RJM parallel mixer. Super tiny little parallel mixer that allows me to do my parallel thing I've been doing with, using my dry path lately and kill dry and stuff for my time-based stuff that's in the effects loops of my amps. So now let's talk about what's in that mixer. You've got the Illumine from, is that how you say it? From Nunaber. Just a killer reverb. That's the black box there, and just awesome sounding. Very simple to use reverb that has up to 50 presets. And then the Dig right beside that. That's a Strymon digital delay that's meant to model the great rack delays of the 80s. And I've got it set up much like I would use my EVH Boss pedal on my big board, which is to say I'm using it like 2 independent digital delays, left and right, in stereo. If I pull the right channel, it'll sum to mono. So if I want to use 1 amp, both the Illumine or the Dig, I can sum everything to mono. But the normal way I would probably use it if I was, using this live would be with 2 amps and 2 cabs and stuff, and have a stereo rig with 2 independent delays, so I can do the 250 millisecond, 500 millisecond on the other side, or 300, 600, that kind of thing, and have the split stereo thing, maybe a touch of modulation. Dig just sounds great. It's awesome. And it's also MIDI, so you can store up to 300 presets in the Dig. The Zelza and the Dig, programmable, Illumine programmable. That's it. Oh, no, it's not. I've got the Tone X on there, too, all the way over there on the right. The Tone X I put in the last loop after all the other pedals, but before the post stuff like the Dig and the Illumine. Now, my thinking with the Tone X is that it can be a boost or a fuzz or whatever I want to make captures of, or say I want to do a Marshall in a box pedal. I could make a capture of this 1987, for example. Sorry, Volta, but I could. I could just put that sound in the Tone X, and it would be pretty cool. And then I can have a essentially an overdrive pedal on the board, a distortion pedal, fuzz that I can use for different things, different gigs. Or you can, of course, have amp sounds in the Tone X. So I could technically just run direct with this board. If there's something that I got to do in a pinch, just dial up an amp sound on the Tone X, use the other pedals and stuff like that. I mean, it seemed like, well, that's a cool little thing to have on the board for sure. In a pinch, I can A/B a clean sound and a dirty sound on the Tone X with cab sim and everything, and I can have like a full-on ampless rig with 2 channels. So, kind of fun. Underneath is Friedman power supply. I do believe... Oh, no. It's not, actually. We ended up going with a... because of some power things, Dave Friedman actually recommended we go with the what is it, Voodoo Lab, the latest version of Pedal Power 2. Or 3, Pedal Power 3, I think it is. The new one does everything. Slices, it dices, it's fantastic. So that's under there, and there's also a MIDI splitter that's going to the, because all these new pedals, of course, they use the like micro MIDI or, MIDI over 1/8 inch or TRS or, so it kind of routes the MIDI to everything out of the switcher. All right, any questions on that? You guys can ask me. I'll just leave the picture up for a little bit. Why not? How many people use a volume pedal at the end of their chain before the amp to get all the gain but lower volume? Well, I kind of do that, but I do on my big board. I have a volume pedal, but it's in the loop. So it's the first thing in the effect loop of the amp so that it'll feed into the delays and the reverbs, and I can do, it'll tail out, and then I can roll the volume back or do swells into the delay and reverb. And so I like that. I used to use a volume pedal in front of the amp so that I could vary the gain just like I would on my guitar, but then I thought, I have a volume pedal on the guitar. What do I need that for? I'll do the loop thing instead. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I think I missed a super chat there. I'll grab it in a sec. Yeah, Chris says, once again, we can go back to ACDC. That's just fine with me. The balance of the guitars on Power Age is the best. Malcolm and Angus sound the most different from each other. That's interesting. Riff raff. Come on. Yeah, I know what you mean. The difference in tones. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like when you get towards Back in Black and stuff, the guitar tones start being a little less different. I mean, they're still different for sure, but Malcolm's cleaner. But yeah, they're a little more similar, I think. Fair. Yeah. Okay. What about noiseless pickups? Noiseless pickups. Yeah, I have mixed feelings, generally speaking. I think they can be cool. Maybe if you take them in their own, like as their own thing. Like an HS3 doesn't necessarily sound like a Strat traditional single coil, but it sounded great, the way that Yngwie used it with his rig with a 250 and they're cool. So I know Tim Pierce likes the pickup that starts with D and the Virtual Blues or something, vintage something or other, I don't know. I think he likes those. Glenn says the movement has a bit of blurring. Yeah, I don't know why that is today. I see that too. It's a little, I don't know. Who knows the intricacies of the internet and why things happen. If I restarted my computer, it would probably go away or something. But we don't care about such things, do we? Really? I don't care. Any plans to be at Sweetwater on 8/10 for their guitar day? No, I'm going to be on tour then. So I know they've got their Sweetwater's, the Gear Fest thing is going on, and I think they're doing a public day again this year and stuff. But I'm on the road with Five for Fighting. We're doing a bunch of dates, by the way. Anybody wants to come? Bunch of dates, East Coast and Midwest, I think, and stuff. So I know we'll be in Michigan again, I think. Have we got a Detroit date? I think we're playing St. Andrews in Detroit. That's fun. Yeah. So, duty calls, the 5th through the 20th, I'm on the road in August. Probably be the last tour I do this year, I think. Never say never, but I plan on staying home more. Got lots of stuff to do here, so. What kind of mic setup for recording do you recommend for AC/DC style tone? If you like the classic... Ooh, what was that? If you like the Mutt Lange stuff, I mean, Highway to Hell, and there's some stuff about this online. Tony Platt, I think, talking about U67s or U87s, maybe. I think it was 67s that they used. So it was condensers, actually, on those records. So that's interesting, and I can kind of hear that darker kind of, it doesn't have the forward, I mean, it's like a full range sound, the AC/DC sound. I love the sound, actually, of a great condenser on on a Marshall. This is a different thing than like the 57 kind of, which has a little fizz and edge to it all its own, and kind of a mid-range all its own. It's a little flatter, you know, maybe a little more like just standing by the cabinet or something. The U67 or an 87. And you just probably, you know, kind of move it essentially, like start in the middle and then move it out, you know, and probably quite close to the cabinet, an inch maybe back or less, half an inch off the grill. Some people I see angle them. So if, you know, the cabinet is in front of you, you'd angle the mic like this maybe. If this is the speaker cabinet, you know, you kind of got the mic a little angled and then back a bit from the cab like that. I don't know why they do that, but I've seen Michael Wagner does that. Kind of angles it a little bit. Yeah. A great approach, I think. Like I know who did Brendan O'Brien do some AC/DC at some point? I know he just loves a 57 and a 421. That's a lot of people. 57 421 is the classic kind of, you know, you get all those mids out of the 421 that the 57 kind of doesn't have, and the bigger kind of, you know, low mid thing that I always hear in a 421. It's not my favorite mic, but it can definitely work. And there's a lot of, I know, like Sylvia Massey and, you know, did Tool, and just a lot of people. I think Bob Rock really likes the 421 as well. So like a 57 421 combo. So I would say either 57 421 or a U87 or 67 for different style AC/DC tones, and then it's really down to the having an, you know, the Marshall or the Gretsch, the Marshall and the Gretsch and the SG, you know, and the right, you know, super bass for Malcolm, or, you know, that style of amp, and then probably, you know, people say Angus used a, you know, they're supposed to use a JTM 45 back in the day. I sort of always hear his tone as more lead spec, but that's just me maybe. And they were probably using master volume Marshalls too around for those about to rock and, you know, Highway to Hell and stuff. I'm sure there's some, probably the two-holer master volume jobbies going on some of those records, you know. So, yeah. Let's see, what else we got here? What pedal or other solution do you do for noise control? Yeah, the Boss one's great. I like, you know, and always carry, generally speaking, in my rig an old MXR Smart Gate. It works really well for me, just running it in, like, it's generally when the guitar is picking up a ton of crap through the pickups, you know, it's just in the room kind of stuff, and I'll just run it before my pedal board generally, just to silence the guitar noise that can happen in certain rooms. You know, some rooms it's just there's the refrigeration, or, you know, the air, I don't know what, you know, just different things. There's the fire loop in England is a thing, like there's a loop of a fire alarm or something. I don't understand what the hell it is when they tell me that, but it, all of a sudden you'll get to a venue and you roll your volume off on your guitar and it's silent. You know, that's when you know it's just not ground noise or some problem with the power, but it's just getting in the pickups. For that stuff, the MXR Smart Gate, the old gray one, you kind of set it on the least threshold, like, you know, the lowest sort of setting, and it still works good for me. So that's one to look at too. Yeah, and I did do a video on the Boss one, and it seemed to work pretty good too. You know, I haven't used that on gigs, but yeah. Yep. Okay. Can you still get nice delay sounds with a Boss EVH delay running mono in the effects loop of the PT100? Yeah, sure. They're just gonna be summed, like any delay. But yeah, it'll sum everything out, the mono out, you know, and it'll sound really cool. So, I'm far behind in the chat because we're talking about Peter Cetera and Shaka Khan. I was mentioning that I did a TV show with them. That was my first big gig. Cetera's a legend. He was. I mean, Chicago, man. You know, nice guy. Remember, he had broken his foot. He showed up that day with a cast, and he had pants tailored so that they were kind of cut around the cast, because he had to stand very still on the gig. He wanted to stand up, but he had had a skiing accident, I do believe, or broken. I don't know if it was broken ankle or just fractured or sprained, but anyway, he couldn't really. It was, difficult to walk. So, anyways, I remember that about it, and I remember he brought flowers for Shaka. He walked in and had a bouquet of flowers and handed them to her. That was classy. Oh, the good old days. Okay, looking at the chat here. Like the Effects 10D. Yeah, that's my my switcher there on the board, my Musicon Lab switcher. Got to get into that soon. Mark T says, my small board is way smaller. Yeah, I would love a board half that size as well with like 5, But this one it's honestly like it weighs nothing and it's just so light and it's like, I don't need to go any smaller than this. It's good for me. So what was your gear setup and guitar for the first big show? I had a Japanese made Fender Strat that was a 2-color sunburst with a humbucker in the bridge, 2 singles and a Floyd and a maple neck. So imagine a 57 Strat that's been modded with a Floyd and a humbucker. That's what it looked like. I'm sure I played that on the show, and I had a 5150, an original block logo. That's what I used. It was just big, distorted football power chords, kind of, as I remember. There wasn't a solo. It was quite easy. And I remember I was really nervous, but I was playing, and it was such an easy guitar part. I remember my hand felt kind of numb from me being nervous, but I was laughing because I was like, well, it's a good thing this is easy because this isn't very difficult for me to play, these parts. So I was kind of cracking up about it while it was happening. But it was a trip. It was a rush, doing the show. And it went really well and everything. I remember that. But yeah, it was that. I don't think I used any effects. Maybe I had a Rocktron Replifex or something because that's what I had back then. Probably threw it in the effect loop or something. I don't even know if I had that then or not, or if I don't remember if I had any effects or if it was just dry amp and the Strat. Good question. I'd love to. What was I using? How did I tune? I don't remember. Eston, $9.99. Thanks, appreciate that. $9.99. Only $9.99 from, what am I trying to say? I don't know, trying to make a joke about, if I was a sales guy. $9.99. You can buy this for just only $9.99. No, I don't know. I'll shut up now. Sorry. Just put my watch back on before I forget it on my desk. I bought a new watch, Shinola. Let's give these guys some props, from Detroit. Cool brand from Detroit. Ooh, can't really see it. There it is. Love it. Blue face. I always wanted a watch with a blue face. Silver. I did it. Do you ever use fractals? Sure. Yeah, I've used Fractal. I did a whole run with Melissa Etheridge with the Axifex. Axifex 2 or Ultra? It was the 2 Ultra, I think. 2 Plus Ultra, whatever they used to call it. Before the 3. And I, for a while, ran it into a tube power amp and a cabinet. And then also ran IRs to the front of the house. So I did that whole kind of thing with her for the first time. And it was cool. I also took just the Axifex to Europe and did a whole couple weeks with Ampless. Because it was like a promotional tour for her album called Fearless Love. And I just kind of went to New York and did a day of bunch of TV and stuff in one day, and it made it so easy to get around without an amp and everything. Just have that's what I mean. I mean, sometimes it's like the right thing to just have a modeler, when you're running around and doing 4 or 5 TV shows over a 2-day period, and then you got to fly right to Europe with one guitar and minimal stuff, and then you go, yeah, okay, let's go. I'll make this work. Do I want all my stuff? Yeah. But was it great? Yeah, totally worked. It was good. Koros says, I often take a look at your performance with Mitch Malloy playing Van Halen. I always think you should make a world tour. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I just watched a little bit of the Sammy with Joe and stuff this morning. New video. Boy, I got to say, Jason Bonham's drum kit's really cool for the tour. It's huge. And he's got his dad on the bass drums. It's really cool, like on the heads. Picture of John Bonham. It's really neat. Just awesome, They sounded really good, I thought, in the video I just saw. It's like a rehearsal video of wherever they are now, rehearsing kind of like production rehearsal style. It was really good. So, anyway, I appreciate that, though. Brian says he put an HX1 on my board. It solves a lot of changing pedal problems. You know, I thought about that in the place of the dig. Maybe just the line 6 would be great, you know. But the dig is, when I tried it, it was like very addictive. It sounded really great. So the dual delay setting on it and everything was like pretty awesome sounding. So totally stoked on it. Does anybody know where to purchase an appropriate size fuse for a Fender Pro Junior? It's a larger fuse. It's probably like a standard, bigger one. Just go on to Amazon or something and figure out what size it is. You know, it's a bigger fuse. You know, many times you buy fuses, they give you those little guys. You know, I'm sure it's just like a whatever. Somebody on here will know. Lauren, you probably know what that is, right? Help out this poor fella. Yeah. Okay. Did you watch the Paul Stanley episode of Gibson TV? I did not. I would like to watch that. I know he's a total guitar aficionado. Is it just me, or is Pete's video a bit blurry today? My video looks clean as hell to me. It just looks a little herky-jerky. So, bit of latency, somebody says. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's always down to, who knows. We're not a TV station over here. We're just streaming over the internet, and it's sometimes dodgy. Yeah. Sean's shouting, all caps. I just want a yummy pedal from Under the Bus Network. It's a Tessie Switch product. Any thoughts or ever try one? No, I have no idea what that is. I'm sorry, my friend. I don't know. I don't know. How is the switcher wired? So you mean on the board here that I have the picture of? Well, you can see all the pedals are in the loops. That's all the little jacks going into the switcher, and the cabling running kind of out to the pedals. Done by my friend Jamie, Brack Systems, Dave Friedman. And then the power is running underneath. But if you have a more specific question, I'll try and answer it. I'm just not sure what you mean exactly. Can you explain your t-shirt? Yeah, this is the Great Frog they made this ring, for example, which I've had since 2008, maybe. It's a store in London, and started in London, I believe, around 1973. And there's one in LA too, and they got a great website. But it's great rock and roll jewelry, basically. Nice stuff, high-end stuff. You'll get it and you'll keep it for years. So, Dig versus SDE 3000, which sounds closer to the old rack. Well, I'd have to do a direct comparison. I mean, I did a direct comparison of the SDEs to Eddie's SDEs. So the SDE, 3000 EVH to the old ones in his rack, and I thought they sounded very, 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 very close. If anything, they were a little bit clearer. Maybe the old ones were ever so slightly darker, but I'm talking like splitting hair. I was like, you're playing and then you go A, B, and you go back and forth and back, and you're like, it's only when you stop and you really listen to the delay tail, you're like, is that slightly darker? I mean, it's literally like, maybe, and then you can kind of simulate that anyway with the high-end roll-off in the delay. So the SDEs are very, very, very close. I mean, the SDE 3000 EVH, very, very, very close to the old ones, I would say. The Dig, not sure. I was just having fun playing through it yesterday. That's all I know is I just wanted to sit there and keep playing. So, yeah. The night before your Clearwater show with Fighting after my solo gig, I just want to thank you for the hang. Oh, yeah, I remember meeting you, dude. Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, you were. I went into a little hang, like a bar in Clearwater, and Nomadic Recovery was hanging in there, and you just finished your set, I think, right when I walked in. So I missed your guitar stylings and singing and stuff. But nice to chat with you for a minute, and hope you're well. Do you have issues with volume pedal taper when you move it at different parts of the chain? Sometimes, yeah. Generally speaking, they're a little more forgiving in the loop, I find, because you're not tapering gain and things like. It's a little more noticeable, like kind of like the volume pot on a guitar when you're running it in front of an amp and you're like, oh, it's not doing anything, or because it's getting compressed into the front of the amp, and you maybe wish it did more, like right when you back down, or did less, depending on. I find when it's in the loop, I don't really have those issues. It seems to be more able to deal with the. It's less noticeable. But anyways. Yeah. There's a super chat I'm going to grab there. It's just from Guitar Man saying, if you're playing at St. Andrews, Detroit, that's when I can come see. What date was it? Let me see if I can figure that out for you really quick here. Because I'm not 100% sure about that. I have about 8,000 windows open here, because I always do. But let's see, 5-4 Fighting Tour 2024. Let me take a look and see if I can find some StubHub dates there. Oh, there's the 5 for Fighting page. I found it. Okay. Tour dates. St. Andrews is... Come on, man. Where is it? I don't see it on there for some reason, but I know it's there. I just probably missed it because I'm a fool. There it is. St. Andrews Hall. It's August 10th. August 10th, St. Andrews Hall. It's a Saturday night. We're playing Cleveland at the House of Blues on the 9th. I'll just list these while I'm here. Sherman, Texas, we've got a date coming up in a couple days. It's a festival called Hot Summer Nights, and I'm sure it will be. Let's see. Then we're playing at Prior Lake, Minnesota, the Mystic Lake Casino Hotel. That's the 27th. That's another one off. So the 11th and 27th in Sherman, Texas, and Prior Lake, Minnesota. Then the proper sort of 2-week little tour run starts. We start in Ardmore, Pennsylvania at the Ardmore Music Hall on August 6th. Electric City in Buffalo on August 8th. House of Blues Cleveland on August 9th. Well, we're doing sort of 6th, 8th, 9th, 10th. 8th, 9th, 10th all in a row. The 10th is St. Andrews. Then we're playing at the Frederick Major, is that how you say that? In East Grand Rapids, Michigan on the 11th of August. The Lincoln Theater in lovely Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, on the 13th of August. 24th Street Park in Virginia Beach on the 14th. The Cabo in Beverly, Massachusetts on the 16th. The Wolf Den in Uncasville, Connecticut, the 17th of August. And then on the 18th, we play the Tarrytown Music Hall in New York, Tarrytown, New York. That's it, as far as I know. For he's got some more dates on here, but these are probably string quartet dates. He has a string quartet as well that he does stuff with. So, yeah, there you go. Little Pete Thorn tour dates right there. Here's Matt with a super chat. What's your method for organizing presets and switchers like the music comms? Sounds on certain buttons or setlist modes? So generally speaking, I'll do songs and then the presets within a song. So I'll make all the presets that I got to do, and then one bank will be the presets within that song. So as you can see on the switcher on the bottom 4, you can imagine that's 4 presets. That's enough for most songs for me. So yeah, I like to make all my presets, and then when I go out to do a gig, I like to put the unit into song or set list mode, so that I'm going from song 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and the songs are just loading up as I advance the banks, and then with all my presets on the bottom per song, if that makes sense. Now, something I like to do is make a stock bank. So on this, imagine 4 sounds from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, clean, crunch, lead, maybe something else on the last one. But the basic food groups, so if you had to, well, let's do this one. They call an audible. It's a cover. Let's play this song. You can just go to that basic bank, and you've got here's my, a clean sound. Here's a dirty rhythm sound. Here's a lead sound with some echo that I can tap tempo if I have to. And And then the last one, whatever, can be anything. So, Fryette Power Station or aux. I'm looking for an attenuator for my new Friedman Plex. By the way, thanks, Matt, for the super chat. Appreciate that. And I'll do it. I should just mention using the editor. Generally speaking, there's an editor for all the Musicom Lab switchers, and I'll get in and I'll organize all that stuff on the computer. Telling all the MIDI units what to do, doing saving, naming things, and everything. I like to do that on the computer these days using an editor. Okay, Fryette Power Station or aux. Looking for an attenuator for my Friedman Plex. I'm gonna go Power Station for that. Yeah, for an attenuator. Vex Loop, which aux doesn't have. Yeah. For that particular purpose, yes. If you want to do, amp sounds and stuff, like recording, with cabinet sounds and stuff, and you're just recording and you can add things in the DAW or add things via the aux, their echo and reverb and stuff that it comes with, and then record those sounds. Well, then it becomes more a little bit about the aux, I think. But as far as attenuation, having an effect loop, super transparent, the Power Station. Yeah. Yeah. The angle of the mic to match the angle of the speaker cone, says Lauren. You think so? The cone. So if it's an angled cabinet, you mean angle of the speaker cone. So I guess I could see that. If you got the speaker in the cabinet and then the cone, what do you think it does? If you do that, what do you hear? Like on the condenser, if you angle it towards the cone, because you've still got the cap right there. So I just wonder I should experiment more with that, actually, angling the condenser, because it's specifically a condenser. I see people do that with, like Michael Wagner. So I'd love to know his thinking. Once again, about miking, not an SM7. SM7, I know John Petrucci likes SM7s. I generally just use mine in here for this. As far as a large diaphragm dynamic microphone or larger, I thought these were not technically large. I thought they're supposed to be like similar to a 57, but I always like the RE20 for that. A friend of mine turned me on to those, and I always thought it sounded great. Or, I love a 441 as kind of like a high-end dynamic on guitar. They sound so good, so juicy. Like one mic, the old 441, the Stevie Nicks vocal jobby. You don't generally see them on guitar amps. I love it. A friend of mine that was a producer turned me on to that. I thought it sounded great. This is way back in the 90s. It's why we included it with my 2-Notes package in my 2-Notes Dyne IRs. The 441 is in there as one of the microphones. That was something that I requested. We use the Sunset Sound 441. And try it. Try it if you own my Dyne IRs, give it a try. Just that one mic and listen to it. Tell me it doesn't sound cool. I think it's cool. It's real cool. Joe says, Pete's a great guy. Thanks. I think you're great too. It's nice to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. That's right. Brendan O'Brien did Black Ice, Rocker Bus, and Power Up. So some of the latest AC/DC. Yeah. And who did Glenn Johns do Ball Breaker? I believe he did. Which is a great sounding record too. Wonder what he did for mics. Let's see. That's interesting. In some of AC/DC's 70s live gigs, you can see some Master Volume 212s. Wow, I never noticed that. That's cool. Let's check that out. I always like how Alex Lifeson used the Marshall combos. He was the one Marshall combo live guy that you'd see using but he used the club in countries, didn't he? Which is always interesting. One of these days I will get to ask him about that. Yeah. Have you heard anything about the Fryette Cyclops releasing? I mean, I think it's released, isn't it? Still waiting for mine. I ordered day one. He's probably just waiting for stock, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know anything about that. But there's a super chat from my friend Nomadic Recovery. You sent I didn't see that already, right? Because I already highlighted your, but maybe you sent it as a super chat as well. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. You already bought me a beer. Now you bought me another one. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Sonny Bono had a skiing accident in the end. He did have a skiing accident. It was much more severe than Peter Cetera's. Skiing scares the hell out of me these days a little bit. Like I used to do it without fear, and now I'm like, yeah, I could run into a tree, and I don't know. I'm just mortal as I get older. Maybe I shouldn't worry so much. Okay. There's a super chat. Another one. I got to get to it, but I will. Thinking of buying an EVH Stripes Series Frankie around $12.50 in the UK. I've seen great reviews. What's your opinion? Geez, I think you can get them for less than that if you look around. But 1,250 pounds, that's $1,600 about, isn't it? Or I think they're around for a little less on the net. But maybe once you import it and everything or ship it, it won't be any different. What's my opinion? I think they're fun as hell. I mean, I don't, you know, they're a basic straight up super strat. You know, are you kidding? If that thing would have been available in the 80s, we all would have been losing our minds, you know? So they're just really fun. It makes me happy every time I look at them. I'll put it that way. I have my yellow and black one at home right now, the Bumblebee, and it's lying there on the couch right now. And every time I look over at it, I'm just stoked. It has that effect. So if something makes you happy when you're not even playing it, it's just a good time. It makes me think of, you know, I don't know. It's just, it takes you back to your youth. It's so cool. But as a guitar, they're a basic super strat that sounds really good with a hot pickup. Floyd's cool. How do you get the pitch shift descending no interruption with most delay pedals? A rate repeat? No, so you change the time. So the key is you really need to do it right. You really need the delay in front of the amplifier, because the delay in front of the amp is going to be stronger because, of course, it's going to hit the distortion. So you get the low E string open. I show this on an Echo Park pedal in my original How to Play Eruption video, part 5, that I uploaded in 2008. You can see me do it with an Echo Park from line 6. But the key is you hit the note, and then you hit the open 12th fret harmonic, turn on the delay, and roll off the volume on the guitar right away. And you want the feedback basically cranked so it's oscillating, but not too crazy. Like, you want it oscillating so that it just holds the note. So probably 3/4 of the way up, maybe 90% of the way up, but not on 10 on most delay pedals, because then it'll get louder and get really, you know, so just have it like so that it's oscillating and carries on for at least 15 seconds, you know, that kind of thing. And then you just grab the time knob and you need to lower it to half. So, you know, the delay kind of sounds like dung, 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 like about, if you have a delay set that fast and then you roll it. So if it was, let's say it's 300 milliseconds or so, something like that, then you drop it just by ear down and it would equal twice as much delay time, technically, to lower the note by 1 octave. So you take it from 300 to 600 milliseconds, let's say. When I did it on tour with Classic Rock Show a few years ago, I programmed it in my DD500, and I used an expression pedal. So I would hit the note, rolled it, or turn on the delay, roll down the volume on the guitar, and then with the expression pedal, heel to toe, I could go from, say, 300 to 600 milliseconds. So then it was just dun 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 dun. Can I do that again? No, that sucked. Wait. You like that? Somebody make a gif of that. Oh, Jesus. I don't know very much in this life, but I do know a lot about a few very specific things. No. Somebody help. Take me away. I completely lost my mind. Is your Dig version 2? Yes. I actually have a version 1 sitting right here. Because this is the first one that pulled out to try. So this is the original version. It looks exactly the same, except for the knobs are smaller on the new one, and the new one has USB and stuff on it, and neat stuff, because they're now... I feel like maybe people don't know this enough about the new Strymons, but the baby ones are insane, because they're not... These old ones, they look almost exactly the same. Maybe they did themselves a bit of a disservice by not making them look slightly different, even a little more. They do look slightly different, but you could mistake this for the new one. The new ones have 300 available memory locations. I mean, they're a full-on, MIDI programmable delay that can do anything that pretty much any original rack units could do. So they're pretty crazy powerful for what they are. So anyways. Yeah. Super chat there I got to grab. Yeah. Not a TV channel. Sure looks like the news with the pedalboard on the upper right. Well, I want to leave it up there just because it's fun. Maybe I should... Well, it'd take too long to do right now. I was going to say I could send a video of the mighty AC/DC to the pet. I'll figure out how to do that. I've just learned how to do this, like how to put pitch, because I'm kind of an idiot, in general. So I just learned how to do this picture-in-picture thing. It's actually not that hard. Should have learned a long time ago, but I could maybe upload some videos and stuff like that too. That might be fun to show occasionally of things I find during the week that are interesting, dogs and cats and things like that. What else we got here? Look for a used Elite or Ultra Strat, says Pierce. This is some people. I'm just wondering what you guys are talking about. Rasmus, if you can find one. You guys must be talking about inexpensive Super Strats. Okay. How many hours a day do you play or practice when not on tour? I need to be a little more focused on that, to be honest. Because I want to actually play and practice a little bit more as of late. But generally speaking, I play and practice when I need to do things. Like when I need to get ready for a gig or, get my hands in shape for something and learn a bunch of songs and stuff. So it's really work-based. And rather than... I'm not a big play practice guy. I actually like writing songs and stuff. So using the guitar as a vehicle to get riffs out and stuff. I'd rather be creating music, if that makes sense. So, anyway. That's what I tend to, but it would be great for me to be doing a little bit more maintenance on my playing, to be honest, and learning some new concepts, I think. Tom says, will you go see the Sammy Hagar Best of All World Tour? I was thinking about it. Tickets are not inexpensive. So I know Joe a little bit. I don't really, have a hookup or anything like that, though. So, I should probably look into it if I'm going to go, I guess, and figure out what to do. But I did look at tickets a little while ago. They're not cheap. So, and it seems like it sold quite well. So, wasn't a ton of seats when I was looking a while ago. I should probably go. I'm a little bit showed out right now because I literally went to AC/DC this week and traveled so far to go to that, and then came right back, and we just went to Beck last night and trekked up the whole the hill to the Hollywood Bowl, and back down to the train and everything. So I kind of feel like, okay, now time to get to work and do a few things. But that would be one that would probably be good for me to see, you would think. How do you like that Keeley comp versus the Woodshed? Well, it sounds good. It's basic. I mean, it's got kind of it sounds like kind of a medium fast attack, so I can't really vary the attack. But just in trying it yesterday was the first time I plugged the board in. I think it'll do what I basically want it to do. If I feel like I'm hurting for features or something like that, I'll probably put the Woodshed on there, but eventually. But I don't think I will be. I think it sounds really good, and I love the concept of a 2-knob pedal that's less to worry about, just easy. I turned on the Anodyne chorus and that compressor, and it was like, that sounds great, especially with a nice, just a hall reverb or something from the Illumine or whatever it's called. I think it's called the Illumine. My reverb of choice. Sound really good. Okay, let's see. There's that super chat again. Oh, it's a different from you, Pneumatic Recovery. Just bought the Tone King attenuator for my JSX. Well, that's the Satriani PV, right? For bar and beach gigs. Have you ever used this attenuator? Yeah, they're quite good. Getting pushed back to use an emulator. We feel your pain. We know this is common. It's better to have a lower. I mean, if you love tube amps and you can make it work and not piss people off, I say just go for it and mic it. You know, it's fun. Just turn it down and angle the cabinet towards you, and make it so that nobody's complaining, but you can have some fun and get some feedback. And I like the Tone King attenuators. I think they're quite good for a passive sort of attenuator that goes in, after the amp. So, yeah. Brian Hester says he sent a super chat but didn't see it. Came out my account though. Sorry. But anyways, thanks for everything. I learned so much here. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate your super chat. Who knows? Maybe it went into the ether. The YouTube gremlins took it. They're out buying coffee. Sons of bitches. All of them. Yeah. That was Rick Rubin, wasn't it? Ballbreaker. Phil was back. Maybe. I thought Glenn did one, though, because my buddy... The reason that I'm saying I thought Glenn did one, but I could be wrong, is because my buddy, Steve Holroyd, who is Glenn John's second engineer, worked on one of the AC/DC records around that time. And I swear to God, I thought that it was that one, but you might be right. AC/DC... Maybe he was working... My buddy Steve, as a second engineer, was working outside of, maybe he was working for Rick back then. He mainly worked for Glenn, though. So I just know he was a second on that record. I don't see anything. Yeah, I think you're right. It wasn't Glenn. I'm just mixing it up because of, yeah, I think that's right. I was wrong about that. It wasn't Glenn. That would have been cool, though. Glenn John's doing AC/DC. Come on. Pretty cool. Got to tune in today, and it's always nice to hear your thoughts. Here's to you, says Cole. Hey, thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me here. I mean, thanks for being here. Thanks for having me here. Thanks for, you know what I mean. Did you talk about Sweetwater stalking Sir? Haven't yet, really, on this show. I think we did last time, but they are. My guitars, everybody else's guitars that have signature with them, as well as amps and stuff, it's all there. The mighty Sweetwater. Yep. What kind of computer should I get, says Area 859, for recording software use? My PC just crapped out. I know the standard's using Apple. Is Microsoft PC just good? I think so. I mean, it depends what you're comfortable in. I'm sure there's some PC guys out there. PC people tend to be die-hard PC people, it's very tribal, the Mac versus PC thing. The reality is I think you can do great with either. I mean, music recording is so below the capabilities of modern computers that it's not even funny, I think. It's like word processing now, basically, but with modern chips and stuff, it's not a concern. So you can do get a great thing going with either a Mac or a PC. I think it's just about getting a computer that's got lots of RAM, just a fast solid state drive and all that, obviously, and the latest, greatest, whatever processor, and it's not hard to do. I'm going Mac Studio, so that's what I'm doing. It's a little Mac Studio. People were like, wait, they haven't updated it for a long time, and it's only the M2 chip, and they're on M3 or 4 now. But I'm like, they're not going to come out with another one for another year, and I need a new computer because I can't. My old one is so old that I can't upgrade it anymore. I can't put it on the latest operating system or download the latest logic or any of that stuff. So, I'm going to go with what I can get now, and I got a great deal on something coming. So that's what I'm doing. Not waiting another year for a computer and not able to upgrade. Don't want to do that. I never hear you complain about touring. That's a nice thing to say to me, actually. I appreciate that, because I definitely complain. I probably just don't do it publicly, but a little more privately. But I honestly feel very, very lucky to do what I do, especially post-pandemic. I think that all came into focus for a lot of us. And the reality is I really quite enjoy it. I'm gone... Maybe at times a little more than I would like to be, but I've realized that it is who I am, and it's what I do, and it's what I chose to do with my life, and I could always change that situation, but I really value it. The the no 2 days are the same, the variety, well, also some things are the same, you know, the set and the camaraderie of your friends and the band and having fun. Your job is to make people have fun. You know, your job is basically to elevate people, and through doing that, you elevate yourself, you know. And so all that, it's not lost on me. It's a great, you know, the world is complicated these days, and it gets more complicated and more difficult, it seems. And our job is to make people forget all that for a couple hours and just back. That's like what AC/DC did for me the other day, you know. You forget about all that crap when you know, and you don't think about your phone, and you don't think about being, you know, distracted by, you're just in the rock, you know, and it's the best thing ever. So, you know, I'm very lucky to do what I do, and I quite enjoy it, and I think I'm good at it, you know. I was lucky to find something that I could do at an early age, that I knew it was what I wanted to do. You know, I had a direction and a purpose from an early age. It's all I wanted to do. And when I see young musicians like that now, I met Shane Hawkins the other day, you know, Taylor Hawkins' son, at AC/DC, and we spoke for a minute, and he was very nice, and, you know, he's obviously very young. He's 16, 17, 18, whatever he is now, 16, I'm not even sure. He's a young guy. He slams the hell out of the drums, does what he does. He's born for it. You know, it's like, you can just tell. When you meet people like that, and it's like, oh, you're going to be, you know, in 5 years, I know what you'll be doing, you know. And yeah, I meet people like that all the time now, you know, younger musicians. They have it, you know, and you're like, when you see it, it's like, yeah, you were made for this, you know. As long as you can keep your head on straight, and you know, not go down a bad path and stuff, and you know, balance and moderation and all those things in life. And it's really interesting to me. If you can do it, it's a great, you know, it's not for everybody, that's for sure, all the travel and the, you know, madness. I got thinking about it the other day, like just how, you know, not just playing, I'm not talking about that when I say I'm good at it, but I mean, I'm good at the travel and the, how to, you know, I'm good at jet lag, and I'm good at knowing how to get around and how to solve problems while I'm traveling and things like that and all that. And I got, you know, trips that when I was younger would have been like, how do I do that? Like, how do I just, you know, the other day I booked this trip to Paris and go see AC/DC stuff, and I was like, well, if I can fly to Heathrow, then if I can get into central London relatively quick, I can just jump on the Eurostar and go to Paris. And that'll probably be easier than taking a connection flight to Charles de Gaulle and then taking another train. And so, anyways, I just decided there's other ways to do it, but I did it, and it all worked, you know. I went to Heathrow, got off the plane, took the Heathrow Express into Victoria, changed a couple stations, and went to St. Pancras, King's Cross, jumped on the Eurostar right on time, and 3.5 hours down to Paris, and got off the train at Gare du Nord. And then I know, because I've basically lived in Paris, spent time in Paris, I know exactly what subway line to get on to take me to my hotel. When I got to Paris, you jump on the 5, go 4 or 5 stops, and then change over to the 1. This is at Bastille. Go to St. Paul, walk up, and my hotel's right there. And I knew how to do all that. Right from LA, you know. I can get from LA all the way to St. Paul and walk into a hotel and check in, and then go and walk around. I know where to go. I know where my coffee is, and I know where my favorite bar is, and things I can do there. And I'm good at this stuff, you know. It's like my thing. At the expense of, you know, having 3 kids or the other things that people do that bring a lot of joy and a lot of meaning to their lives and stuff, and just not things that I ever did. But I've got this other life that I chose to do, so... All right, that's a long-winded ass explanation of, you know, threshold for the year, man. I don't know. I mean, I think these days, it's seeming like half the year is what it's turning out to be, and that's enough, you know? If I'm going to do more than that, if it was 9 or 10 months of the year and I was on the road all the time, it would have to be something like AC/DC. It would have to be on the level of, like, I'm making a lot of money, it's comfortable, I have great hotels, great travel, no problems all the time, ability to, you know, fly loved ones out easily and things like that, and hang out, and it's a comfortable touring situation. Because at best, even at those levels, you're still on the road and you're still away from home. You're still living out of a suitcase. So, you know, that's that. Alrighty. What else we got here? Love the vocalized ending of Russian. Okay. You're happy with the dig as compared to that Eventide white delay. Trying to decide. I don't need wild effects. Yeah, the dig sounds exceptional. I mean, Eventide makes lovely stuff too, but you're talking about the white. I think you're talking about H9 or H90, which has great delays in it. I don't generally use it for delay, but it is really cool. You could do great delay sounds with either, but if you don't need yeah, the dig is fantastic. It's great, really, really good. Okay. Recommendation for a booster pedal for a Bassman to make it more sparkly or twin or deluxe like. Probably something with a little bit of top end. That you might look at the Super Clean from Exotic. It's got these little switches on it that allow you to tailor the tone. 4 little dip switches for lows, low mids, and highs. And so if you boosted the highs and the high mids on it and then hit that Super Clean and it boosted but gave you a little sparkle, you know, brought out the top end of your guitars, that might be really nice, I think. There's also this guy. I still owe these guys a video, so sorry folks if you're watching, but I gotta get onto this soon. But low, standard, or high, the Boostopia. This pedal has a control on it right here that allows you to change the range of the tone that you're kind of... I wouldn't say it's like full-on treble booster either. That's why I'm recommending it. You could probably put it in the high boost mode and then hit it and probably do something similar to what you want. So check out the Boostopia and also the Super Clean. There's one called the Super Sweet and one called the Super Clean. Super Sweet's the red one, I think. It's got more boost on tap. I sort of thought the Super Clean was enough boost for me. Had plenty on tap. And those are both Exotic pedals. Xotic. Is that how you spell that? Yeah. Is there an amp in Pete's studio? I mean, there's so many amps. I guess I'll get rid of the picture of my pedalboard right now. Let's see. Remove. There's all the amps over there. There's a Marshall JMP 50 up top. There's a little Friedman there, a JEL. There's a Sir SL68. There's a Sir PT100 underneath. And then you can see an edge of a top hat and a Germino, the red amp, little Synergy system. There's a Sir Hedgehog down there right now in that slot. All kinds of stuff. Yep. All right, it's 1:21. I'm going to hang another 25 minutes or so and then split and get some more work done. Do you adjust the knobs on your acoustic pedals during a gig or set them and leave them alone? Acoustic pedals? You mean like like for an acoustic guitar? I don't generally use pedals on an acoustic guitar. Some people do, you know, some preamps and stuff like that. But I generally am just coming out of my pedal board. You know, I use a wireless system and then I'm buffered out of that, you know, out of the guitar anyway. It's got a preamp in it. And I let them do whatever they want at front of house to my acoustic. I generally don't do a lot of tone shaping, EQing stuff on my end. I just give them the acoustic. But I haven't played acoustic a lot live, like in a number of years, though. Like where I've really had to dial in an acoustic sound that was, you know what I mean? Like where it's like, ooh, I'm playing acoustic like the whole night or half the set, and I really need to. Maybe I should add a little reverb or some parametric EQ or maybe get into some IRs and stuff. Some people don't bond with them. I really like the sound of the pickups in your Taylors, you know, that's the kind of the Neve designed. It's been out for 15 years or 10 years or whatever, the old school 3-knobber, you know, Taylor system. It's got a bass and a treble and a volume. I throw that at front of house and they do whatever they want to it. And when I hear that, it sounds really good to me. So like the last year we did Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd and I played the 12-string part, and actually they did some radical stuff to my tone in the house because I was playing the 12-string part at the beginning. That's all radio filtered at the beginning of Wish You Were Here. So he had an EQ preset that he made at front of house. It sounded great. It sounded just like the record really. And then once we got into the body of the tune where the drums, so you think you can tell, didn't it get you to trade? When we got into there, he took the filter off. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Just keep in mind that excluding Coney Hatch from the mention of great Canadian bands may be the reason Alex is life since not chatting with you. I know Andy because I know Ian and I know Andy. So yeah, from years ago. Yeah. I don't think that Andy's got any kind of ill will towards me. I hope not, anyway. Coney Hatch. I like Coney Hatch. Wasn't Monkey Bars the Coney Hatch song? Monkey Bars. I'm getting old, so I might mix things up. Yep, Monkey Bars by Coney Hatch. I remember that. Remember that action? You don't got to come down on me for not mentioning Coney Hatch. I can at least bond with you on that tune. Okay. Met a guy who put 6v6s in a Germino Lead 55. Never thought of that for knocking off some volume. Probably needs a rebias, but wonder if there's a catch. Yeah, you're going to need, beyond a rebias, you probably would maybe need to change a couple parts to get it in the right bias range. And you're going to need I mean, it depends on the voltages, I think, because I don't know what a Lead 55, and once again, I'm not a tech. This is a question for somebody like Friedman. But you're going to need a robust 6v6, I would think. Something like a JJ probably is the only thing you could run that would take the, cause I don't know. It's a good question for somebody like Friedman, how easy it would be to do. And why, kind of like I would just run EL34s, get some PS Veins or whatever and call it a day. Yeah, just for a couple of beers. Thank you, Daniel, for the super chat. Appreciate that. Cheers to you. Thanks for sharing your moments. I appreciate you. Thank you. What deal did you get on your Mac? My friend Randy has a fellow that's a reseller out in Arizona, and he did me a nice little thing. So I'm not sure I should bring it up beyond that, but nice guy, and everything's working out. So, I met Bono the other day. He still hasn't found what he's looking for. I don't think that's true. Oh, yeah. Okay. Does your Effects 10D also switch amp channels? I think it's got a function switch or two on it. Yeah, that you can do that with. I'm not going to use it for that. Oh, yeah, I do have it wired. Excuse me. I do have it wired to the one of the jacks on the side of the board so that I can do the function switching stuff. That said, I mean, mainly these days I've been doing it via MIDI. So there's a MIDI out on the side of the board, too, because I'm mainly PT100s live these days. But if I did do a PT15 live, I could do the function thing out of the switcher, no problem. Yeah, and switch TRS and get to all three channels. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Arthur says that he used to do about 5 months of the year out on the road. Still misses the hell out of it. Yeah, I mean, the grass is always greener when you're home. You're like, damn, it's good to be home for a few days. And then you're like, I kind of miss touring. Like, I mean, I've already got some dates for next year, looking at them, and it makes me excited, to know. It's always great to have things to look forward to go, on tour. And it's fun, so. Yeah. Yeah. I think the H90 has amazing reverbs. Yeah, I love the H90 reverbs. I like the spring, use it a lot in my on my big board, and I use the black hole for ambient stuff quite a bit. I think it's really cool. Agreed. Got an Unobtainium and the Boss EVH delay last week. Those are two on my big board. Having a blast using them to get a huge smile on my face all week. I have an Unobtainium raw here. Let's take a look at it. I haven't taken it out of the box yet. This is one that my good buddy at Crazy Tube sent me to check out. It's a germanium version of the unobtainium, which I've been using on my board. So I'll have to compare it actually, and listen for the difference. I bet I'll like them both, and that, you know. But this is the unobtainium raw. So germanium to do the overdrive instead of, you know, probably JFET or whatever he normally uses. I'm gonna give it a try and listen. Oh, always so many things. It's so much fun. Us guitar players. Oh, let me show you something else I got. It's kind of fun. This is fun. Vox, a real McCoy wah-wah pedal. So, always like the sound of a Vox wah. Mm-hmm. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, sorry. Free the tone, dual delay, magical. Also love the readout far. Yeah, I like the free the tone stuff too. That's a neat stereo delay for sure. Very cool. Yep. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Jeff and I really enjoy our Sundays with you. Thanks. Been a crazy week, Pete. You are calm in our storm. Thank you. Suffering triple digits. It's hot, hot, hot. It is hot. Caught fire for 8 hours in Mariposa. That is not good. Stay safe. Stay indoors. Keep the AC on. Dylan says 320 people are watching right now. It says 317 on my thing. Only about half of us gives a thumbs up. Everybody hit the thumbs up for me if you don't mind. It helps spread the video far and wide and keeps it, I don't know, popular. Because it's all about popularity these days. How do you like scallop fingerboards? Pretty good. I like them. It's not something that I need to do, but I did do one once. I've talked about that before. And scalloped a Strat once myself. It worked. I went a little far, but I didn't hit the truss rod. Yeah. Anyone remember Gowan? I remember Gowan. Great Canadian singer. He did he do recently? Relatively recently. I don't remember. He was really good. Great singer. Andy is Alex's gatekeeper. Yeah, well, Andy, I know that, and I've met Andy and hung like. Okay, so the way I met Andy was through Ian Thornley, because Ian came down to play at the Sir party that you've seen maybe videos of me playing with Ian at the 2014, the Sir NAMM party. And Andy came with him that time. And I met Andy, and then I realized who Andy was after that. That, you know, I didn't put two and two together until later. But Andy was very cool. He was super nice, and, you know, he was there as part of Ian's management. And, you know, so now I've got a, you know, I know, of course, the Coney Hatch connection, as well as the you know, new band that they're both doing together and stuff like that with Alex. So I understand all that now. Yep. Yeah. Andy didn't stop Alex from putting on makeup and wearing a dress in the Trailer Park Boys. Thank God he didn't, because that was the best Trailer Park Boys, the Rush one. It was awesome. Yeah. Do you know Sean Kelly? Awesome dude. Plays with Coney Hatch now as well as Lee Aaron. I don't think, but that's cool. I'd love to chat with him. Lee Aaron. Awesome Canadian rock. One of the great female Canadian rockers from the 80s. Along with Darby Mills. Turn it up. Yeah. Lauren says, I asked Warren Hewitt, he says when miking front or back, it's useful to have match cone angle, otherwise not much difference with one mic. Yeah, I guess for phase, because if you've got two microphones and one's slightly more angled than the other one, then you flip the phase, it might not bring it back totally into phase. So much like a hi-hat, mics on top and bottom or snare. Not a hi-hat, a snare. With, you know, it's probably more in phase to have them like full on like this on either side of the drum, and then flip the phase on one of them and they'll be in phase. I think I just got a wave of jet lag fatigue. Interesting. I woke up early today, like 6:30. I love actually coming back to LA after being in Europe. Sometimes Japan, it goes this way too, but being in Europe and you get home and then you wake up super early, and then you're tired by 10. You want to go to bed. It's like, because I can tend to start pushing it later and later and later, not going to bed till 1 in the morning and all that. And then, I end up waking up 9:30 and you waste half the morning doing stuff around the house. And then before you know it, it's 1 o'clock by the time I get into work. That's kind of what I always drift into. I cherish the few days where I get up at 6:30 or 7, accomplish a bunch of stuff. And by the time it's this time of the day, you're like, oh, this is great. I got a lot done, Feels good. I guess I've become a morning person. Oh, God. When do you use your quad cortex compared to your pedalboard? Quad cortex for me has been my Five for Fighting rig as of late. I've got all the sounds in there programmed. I went through the work to do, a bunch of John's tunes and stuff, and I have it all sounding great. So the main thing I'm doing with the quad cortex these days has been the Five for Fighting gig. So like the tour coming up, that I've got coming up, that's what I've been using it for. And I would gladly do that on other tours and stuff too. Works great. The new little pedal board, like I say, is a little more for, I could use it with an amp and use it for other things, or I could do, I just wanted another pedal board that I could use with my amps that's in town. Like, for example, let's say I go do a classic rock show tour or something. My gear's in transit from England. It always takes a few weeks to come back to me after I get back home. Now I don't have a pedal board when I get back to LA. So if I'm doing a gig or if I'm doing, even sessions here in the studio, I have my main pedal board down on the floor right now in front of me because I like easy access to a tuner, a compressor, a Kalan, a fuzz. Like, it's all right there, just having a good little studio board. So I don't have that. If you've only got one board, you don't have that. So, then if you've only got the quad cortex, I sort of don't bond with using something like the quad as a pedals replacement in front of an amp. Some people can do that, like they'll use it, and I have done that, like used it for effects only with an amplifier, and it totally works, it's cool. But I love, for example, if I go back to my little pedal board there, I love having like the 2-knob compressor there that you can see, the little Keeley, or the boost, or the, like, just an instant gratification without having to go, even as easy as the quad cortex is, because it's one of the easiest. I love the instant gratification of just some pedals on the floor to get into a little tweak of a sound or something like that. So that's why the pedal board versus quad cortex. When I use a model or something like the quad cortex, I guess what it is I like to have the sounds all programmed and dialed and a set list and everything. I'll go through the work to program it and get it all going in the unit. And then it's very consistent, very good. A pedal board to me is a little more stuff on the fly, especially my new little sort of like a utility pedal board where you just, I got to dial up a sound with some compression, a little bit of reverb and a little echo, or hit the chorus pedal. That sounds good, and then record quick. That's a little more, you know what I mean, instant gratification stuff. Yeah. First time catching your live stream, says Brian. Hey, great to have you here. That's awesome. Great to have new people all the time. I feel like it's well, I'm just thankful people still come here and watch my show, because it's been going on for years. So it's awesome. Isn't Craig Northey Canadian? Yeah, I love Craig Northey from the Odds. You were talking about a killer band. I always thought, what's the, like, Odds? They're like a power pop rock, something going on with, like, similarities to, I don't know what, like, if you liked Matthew Sweet, like that Girlfriend album, I loved that record, you would love the Odds. If you like, probably Elvis Costello, kind of, they had a little bit of that going on, but, they used, like, Voxes and high watts and stuff, like cool combos and great lyrics. Really great lyrics. Someone Who's Cool. That was a great song. I remember just late 80s Odds, or late 90s, or mid 90s to the late 90s. The Odds. Great band. Great band. There were such good Canadian bands. I mean, they're kind of a little like Mo Berg, Pursuit of Happiness. That band. They were cool too. In their own. They had fun songs with, like, just cool rock, pop rock bands from Canada, lots of them, that weren't like Loverboy or you know, love those guys too. I mean, the whole like 80s AOR, more like those types of bands. But I loved the 90s Canadian bands. Some of them were just so that maybe don't get as much appreciation. And Sloan is, of course, a major. You know, we don't talk about Sloan on here a lot. I loved Sloan. You know, if anybody out there is a Sloan fan, so great. Sloan and the Odds. I spent a lot of time listening to both those bands actually. So. There's another super chat there. I think that's Peter. I'm going to grab that one in a sec. Thank you, man. Northern Pikes. They were cool. I remember them. I haven't thought about that band for a while. Yeah. It's good stuff. There's Peter. Killer Sunday Show. Thanks. Videos this week. So, yeah, I'll be working on a video around here. I don't know if it's coming out this week, but very soon. For this 1987, I'm glad I got to show it a little bit. The beginning of the show. Just a great sounding Marshall in a box from Volta. Really, really good. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I'm going to do a video for that. There's a video for a Synergy product module that I got to get done. There's something coming out from Jam Pedals that will be over the next week and a half. That Boostopia, I got to get to that. I really have to do a video for Keeley. Keeley sent me some pedals, and it was when I was getting swamped going on tour with Nick Carter and different things, and I just didn't get to things, and I feel really bad about it, to be honest. I hope Robert doesn't hate me, but I never got to this one, a video for the Noble Screamer. I really need to make a video for this for him, because Robert's a great guy, and Keeley makes awesome pedals, and so this is one that I need to get into. So all that good stuff and more. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate the super chat. Everybody hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. And I'm going to hang another like 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to split. Todd says, huge Sloan fan. Me too. I became a fan touring with them. Like I was playing with Blink of the Star, another fun Canadian band, back in '99, and we did a whole month with Sloan opening for them, and I was like, this is amazing. I didn't know anything about them because I'd moved to the States and just missed the boat on a Canadian band that you just don't hear about things sometimes in the US, and I loved them, and Patrick, I loved all their tunes, but Patrick's AC/DC kind of sensibilities I loved. He had that when he would sing in his tunes that he was the primary songwriter. I think they had this kind of AC/DC like thing going on many times that were really, really cool. But all those guys, Andrew's songs, all of them, they would write really interesting. For those that don't know the band, just check them out. Sloan from Canada. They have a fascinating story to me, to tell you the truth. That they came to be in another time when it was still the big music business and money and record deals and all that stuff. They got signed in the early 90s to Geffen, I think, and they put out 2 records. And the first record sold, whatever, tens of thousands of copies, let's say 40. And the next one sold 60 or 65,000 copies, right? Well, those by by major label standards were like, I guess, a failure, and they ended up, the label didn't want to put out another record. So they I don't know, technically they got dropped or they just negotiated their way out of the deal. But they negotiated to get both those albums back, I do believe, from the label. So it's really interesting because, like, they basically came out scot-free, I think, from that deal, and were able to kind of use a major to get to, like, because let's say they were an indie band, 65,000 records would be killer, right? So then they just started their own record label called Murder Records in Canada and started signing other bands and just continued on from where they left off. So they kind of used Geffen as a stepping stone, and then just they're like the ultimate indie band. I don't know, it's so brilliant. And everybody in the band writes, and they all contribute, and they all get their creative yayas out a little bit. So it's kind of like the Beatles in a way, I guess, where it's primarily Lennon McCartney, but Ringo had some tunes, and George always got a couple tunes and stuff like that. It's sort of like that, where they, each of them would be I think they all sang. Yeah, they did. Andrew sang. Everybody sang. So so everybody kind of got their due a little bit, and I think that has a lot to do with how their longevity, like from the early '90s, is still a band. There must be a mutual respect there that so that they didn't break up and nobody got bored and nobody. I mean, I'm sure went through their trials and tribulations like any band, but they're still around, still making records, and it's a neat band because everybody's got their little thing, much like the Beatles, where the George tunes were unique, or the Ringo tunes were unique, and then the John and Paul songs were those. When you listen to Sloan, you get all those colors of each guy as an individual songwriter on the records, and as individual lead singers. It's really cool. So they're a unique band, and I just love their sensibility. And I love the story, that I already told about how they got to where and just kind of kept going. And it's a good story, and, just killer. Yeah, Sloan, another great Canadian bar band. They definitely get the place rocking. They do. They get the place like going off. Just a lot of fun. A lot. They're a little like King's X has their diehards. That'll go out and sing every word to every song. It's kind of like that when you go see Sloan. Good stuff. So check them out if you haven't heard of them. And yeah, this is kind of it. It's a little like the Beatles. No, I'm with you on this. I know I know your hesitation. Now stay with me, because they all play every instrument. They all sing and they all write and they're all hella talented. And the other thing about them, much like the Beatles, is they learned together. I feel like the Beatles they learned as a band. Sloan wasn't necessarily the most, gifted virtuoso musicians in the beginning. They sounded like an indie band that had just gotten started a few years earlier on their instruments and singing and stuff. And then they progressed and learned and became more creative and all that as a band, much like the Beatles, and I love that about them. You can hear that in their sound, and as the records progress, and it's kind of similar to the Beatles, where in the early days, there's an innocence to it that's really cool, and an honesty, and then as they evolve, you can hear them, branching out and trying other things and stuff, and it's really cool. It's there's a Beatles connection there for sure, and I'm sure that's primary influence for them, so pretty neat. Yeah. There's another super chat I got to grab there. I'll get to that in just a second. Yeah. Treble Charger. Somebody mentioned Treble Charger there, and I haven't ever really listened to them. Once again, leaving in 1990, I missed the boat on a lot of Canadian bands. I missed the boat on Tragically Hip completely. I don't really know their music because I missed the boat. So while I know a little about them, respect their story very much, I never got deep into the intricacies, So the Beaches, never heard of that band. Don't know that band. Tube Steader pedals, I haven't heard of those. Greatest tube preamps or for non-tube amps, says Daniel. I have the Lightkeeper pedal in front of a Seymour Duncan Power Stage 170. Great solutions. I haven't tried them. That sounds interesting. Love to give them a try. My knees hurt, making an Aldo Nova reference. Life is just a fantasy. True story, I met Aldo Nova when I first moved to LA, and I was living at the Oakwood, the legendary Oakwood, where Nirvana stayed when they were making Nevermind. It was a, corporate apartment hotel that labels would put bands up at and things. So I had a short-term apartment rental there when I was first going to MI, and the Badlands guys were staying there. I remember seeing them out by the swimming pool. I was 19, it's crazy. And I remember Aldo Nova out by the swimming pool, and I sat and talked to him a couple times by the pool, and it's like, you're from Canada too, right, man? And we got talking and stuff, and he was cool, talking about trying to score another hit. He hoped it was all going to work out. I remember those days. Music Therapy Laz with the super chat. I have a call told one. Have a call told one. I just said that. I think I am jet lagged. That's an indication. Have a tall, cold one on me, Pete. Thanks for all you do. Awesome community. Hope to see you this next winter NAMM. I will be there. I will be at NAMM, by the way. So thanks for reminding me to bring that up. But yeah, I got Classic Rock Show touring but I'm flying back just for NAMM for a day and a half. So the whole show is only 3 days. I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll be there Friday and half of Saturday this year, hanging out. Can't miss it. And then I'll go straight back into a gig in Bournemouth or Portsmouth, one of the two, in the UK. Sunday night, I will be on stage. So, gonna be bonkers, but I'm gonna do it. Delamitri, great band. Not a Canadian band, but terrific band. Toured with them last summer. I just met Ash the other day, the original, the drummer from Delamitri. It was one of the other people, Shane Hawkins, and Ash was there at AC/DC. So, yeah. Okay. If you're coming from another country about to move to a bigger city like New York or LA, what would you do to make connections and potentially get gigs and into projects? You have to kind of go out and network. You have to meet people in the clubs and places where there will be people that you can connect with. I don't know how else to describe it. So any kind of events or things where you think there might be musicians or industry folks that are connected to musicians hanging out, you kind of go and you meet them, and all the while you're, working on your own social media, because that's your business card these days. So your Instagram or your Facebook or whatever, you got places to, kind of direct them to online so they can see what you do. But there's no substitute for that. In LA, it's all about these days musical directors, the MDs. They put together, at least in the pop world, they put together a lot of the tours and find musicians and source musicians for things and stuff. So you go out and you meet these people, and how do you do it? You have to literally spend time in the clubs, and then also just cold calling or directly, in an artful way, trying to meet people, say on the internet, Instagram and stuff, just sending them messages, DMs or whatever. And also just by, I swear to God, just making cool stuff and putting it on. It's what everybody's trying to do, and it's saturated, but by putting up cool stuff that you're passionate about, or cool playing things, on like IG or your YouTube or whatever you've got, people tend to find you that way, like, oh yeah, I saw you on Instagram. I saw you on YouTube, and they think of you through things. I mean, I've got gigs through YouTube and through, referrals, but then also people right away might go, like, and not even referrals. I mean, the Classic Rock Show, James knew me from YouTube, the MD and, my co-guitarist, and he knew me from watching YouTube videos of guitar stuff. So he thought maybe this guy would be good in our band, and contacted me kind of out of the blue, not with a reference from anyone else. It was all about YouTube and stuff. So it's a little bit of networking, old school, meeting people and going out, and be it open mics or, nights where there's bands playing, where you find out that there's, that's a cool scene. Maybe I should go. And you make one connection, meet one person, you have one good conversation that leads to having coffee or a drink or dinner or something, and then talk about things. And you have to, that social aspect you can't discount. It's that, and then also doing the social media thing these days, I think, are the ways. That's the best advice I can give on that. It's a kind of a broad subject, but somebody says I look tired. I am tired. It's been a hell of a week, but I feel good. I'm just jet lagged. That's all. Yeah. Ray says, Ray says, Pete, you work hard and make sacrifices and are immensely talented. Hey, thanks, man. I'm just a crazy guitar player, but I'm a lunatic, but I do the best I can. Thank you. Appreciate your acknowledgement. 152, I've been on for 203. I'm going to hang another 5 minutes because I'm having fun. And from UK to NAMM and back. Yeah, I'll fly out of Edinburgh and end up in Anaheim that night. So it's going to be a long day, but it's okay. It'll be cool. I'll be stoked because it's NAMM, and I'll just get up and go. It'll be cool. By the time I sleep and everything and wake up, and Friday, it'll be like late in the day on England. So I'll be up and ready to go, I would think. Go pick up a badge, go in, see most of the show that day, wear myself out like crazy, get a few hours of sleep, and go to bed and get up and do the show for a few hours again in the morning, and then head back to the airport and go home, go back to England. You know what I mean? Tour is home, I guess. Crazy. You guys are too kind. Dylan says, we love and appreciate Pete so much. You guys are too kind. Thank you. Appreciate you. Ian as well. Nice to see you guys here. All you guys. Good cats. All right. Well, thanks for one more on your long list of immensely awesome live streams. Thank you, guys. I'll be here same time, same place, I do believe. Let me just double check. But next week, it's the 7th today. So, yeah, next week is the 14th. I'll be here. I'll be around in town and rocking. I will have gone and done a quick little hit in Texas. Got to do that this week. So I think it's the 11th, I think, is the night I'm playing. Hot Summer Nights in Texas. Pretty sure that's it. Somewhere outside Dallas. Come back next Friday, the 12th. The 14th, I'll be here for another Sunday Live. All right. Rock on, you guys. Have a terrific week. I'm getting hungry, so I'm going to go get some lunch, and then I'm going to do some more work. And y'all are the best. Thanks for all your super chats. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit the thumbs up. Help spread the video far and wide. Please subscribe if you're new here to the channel. Why not? It's fun. Make friends. Hang out. Be part of the community. You're welcome here. Okay, take care, everybody. Thanks again. See ya.